Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to discuss about regular expressions, also known as RegEx. RegEx are also known as patterns that are used to match a combination in a string, which means using the regular expressions, we are trying to match some pattern in a string. Could be your name, could be some kind of a sequence, or could be numbers, email address, etc. In order to identify this, generally we will use the two kinds of characters. One is simple character. Using regular expressions, we can also find out the direct pattern, which means some kind of a word. We can actually give some name and try to identify that name is there in the string or not. Another way to identify the match is the combination of simple and special characters, where we will use some special characters, escape characters, to identify the pattern. Regular expressions is all about the special or sequence characters. There are two types of characters are there. One is meta characters and special sequence characters. Meta characters are also known as the special characters. These are used to match something which is more than a direct match, whereas special sequence characters are also known as escape characters. These characters are used for match something which is a direct match. Means if at all you are looking for some specific search, we can use special sequence characters to match those pattern. Let me show you some of the characters of meta and special sequence characters. These are the commonly used meta characters like pipe, dot, curly braces, star, plus, question mark, braces, square braces, cap, dollar, backslash. So these are the some commonly used special characters. Each and every meta character has some specific meaning associated to it. We will take one example and I'm going to explain you each and every meta character in detail. Let's also look into the special sequence characters. Special sequence characters will start with backslash, means some escape key. Something like backslash W, backslash P, backslash D, backslash S, A, and Z. Again, similar to the meta characters, special sequence characters are also has some specific meaning to it. We will take one example and try to understand meta characters and special sequence characters. Let me consider some string, something like this, and using the string, I'm going to explain you meta characters and special sequence characters. You can also find this example string in the description or in the resources, using which you can also do exactly whatever I'm trying to do here. When it comes to the pattern in regular expression, generally most of the programming language will use some forward slash, and within the forward slash we'll try to find out some pattern. Whereas in Python, this forward slash, what we can say is R, and within the quotes, and again the pattern is what we're going to use here. Whereas the pattern in the Python or irrespective of any other language, the pattern is same for regular expressions. So what we'll do is that we'll try to focus more on the pattern rather than format of the Python. But however, in Python, this is what the syntax that generally we'll use. It'll start with R. R stands for raw string. We'll look for some pattern. Now let's look into the simple pattern. The simple pattern could be anything. For example, here within the /, the pattern I'm looking is cat. So which means that CAT, which is a cat, and we are directly looking for the direct match of the cat. Means if at all, if the cat is present in the string, regular expressions will highlight it or return the range of this pattern. Let's look this with an example. Here I am in the website RegEx101.com. This is very beautiful website which I found, but however there are a lot of websites that you can actually use for practicing, but I found RegEx101 is little bit easy for me to understand and explanation. And here what I did, whatever the text string I have given to you, I have actually copy pasted the text string and I put it here. Now here in the field box that you're seeing, where we are trying to enter the pattern or some regular expressions pattern here. For example, I can look for the direct match like cat. So what it means, I'm looking for some name. And here if you see that regular expression has actually highlighted CAT, which is a pattern it identified in the string. And what it means is regular expressions will return the number of matches, at the same time the range at which the match is found. And here if you see, we found one match. That's what I can see some information here. There is one match which is this, and the position is in the range that 529 to 532. As we know that in text the indexing will start from 0. It means this is the 0th index, 1, 2, 3 and so on, and if you keep on counting, the position of C is 529 and the position of T is 532. Okay, so that's what the position or indexing which it's trying to return. And this is the direct match. You can also look for any kind of information. For example, if you look for some name, and here I do not found any kind of information. That's what it's saying, that your regular expression does not match any subject string. But however, if I look for hello, and it's trying to match here, and which means hello is getting matched. And when it match, it also return the range at which this match is present. That's what exactly the simple search what we can do with the regular expression. Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have seen the simplest form of matching, which is just providing some word or just providing some text. We can actually match the characters. So based on the knowledge that whatever we have gained, let's try to answer this question. And here I'm having some example string with me, which is the quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. This is outside within braces, this is inside. Now let's answer the three questions. The question number 1 is match the string fox and provide its range. What it is asking is that match whether the fox is present in this example or not and provide its range. And next is how many times does is appears in the above string. And third one is the match the pattern within the braces, this is inside, and provide its range. Okay, so that's my example string. What I'll do, let me copy this and go back to my RegEx101 and paste the string. Now let's look into the first question. The first question is match the string fox and provide its range. So for that, all I need to do is that simply write the fox, And the moment I write the fox, it will match for the fox. And the match information you can see here. And also you can look into the typical range. The range is 16 to 19. That's it. That's my first answer. The range is 16 to 19. And next is how many times does is appears in the above string. And obviously in this string, how many times the is occurs. Just put is and count it. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And those information you can also see here. So the answer is 4. And final question is match the pattern. This, see, I just want every information, something like this, is inside and provide its range. Means I want including the parenthesis also. Pause the video and try by yourself. Alright, hope you already tried this. Now let me try this. So most of the people probably they might try the this is inside. Oh, most of the people have tried this is inside. Whenever you search for this pattern, the match that you're seeing is the 62 to 76 and it is only matching this is inside. And there is also group that come up. I'll talk about the group later on. And the group is also saying this is inside. So which means that actually I'm not actually capturing the braces. The reason for that is the parenthesis that whatever you're seeing is a meta character. Means this is a character which is used for search or match operations in regular expression. So generally in order to escape this, what we do is we have to use the escape characters, which is backslash. Now let's put the backslash behind the braces and also at this point let's put backslash. And moment you put this, and here you go, this is what the pattern it matches, and that's what you have seen is this is inside. Okay, so now the range is 61 to 77. So make sure that whenever you're having some meta characters that was there and you want to match that meta character also, then we have to use backward slash, which is the escape character. Okay, now the range here is 61 to 77. That's an answer. Cool. Hope you enjoy this. In the next lesson, we're going to start the meta characters. I'll see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Now let's move into the meta character and try to look into some sequence. Let's start with the very basic meta character, which is pipe. As you know, in the keyboard, above enter, you can see there is a pipe key is there. And the meaning of this pipe character is either or. So here I have given one example, which means the example states that, for example, if the pattern I have given is cat, pipe, hello, which essentially means it will try to match cat as well as hello. That's what it try to understand. Any two characters, it's try to match it. Let's go to a regular expression and see this example. And here what we'll do is, let me type cat, pipe and hello. And here if you see, the previously when I entered only cat, I have only one match. And also if I type only hello, I have only one match. But here what I did, since I use some special character which is a pipe, the meaning of this is an either. Now I'm looking for either cat or hello. Now the regular expressions will search for both cat as well as hello. and it will return the range at which the cat is found, which is 529 to 532, whereas hello is in the range from 893 to 898. It's not only two characters. You can also put pipe there and start looking into any information, for example test. And here you can see that as soon as if I type test, this is cat testing. In the testing word it found test, test, hello and test. So how many matches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we can see here. So now hope you understand what exactly the pipe means. The pipe is something, if at all we are looking for either of these pattern, then we will use pipe. Something like this. And what we can see is a cat, pipe, cherry. So now it will search for both cat as well as cherry, and will return wherever the cat is occurs and wherever the cherry is occurs, and return the range at which it was matched.
Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have discussed about pipe. Now, let's look into some exercise questions on pipe and try to understand our foundations better in the meta character pipe. So let's consider a string. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Birds sing in the morning or evening. Let's consider the string. Now on top of this, I have written the 5 questions. Now try to answer these 5 questions. The first question is, write a RegEx expression to match either sun or moon. Pause the video and try to answer this question. Now let me copy the string and paste it in the RegEx 101. So okay, I already pasted it. Now the first question is, write a RegEx pattern to match either sun or moon. So the answer for that is, it's a sun, and we have to use a meta character pipe, and after that you have to type moon. So in this case, this pattern will try to search for sun or moon, and here in my string I have only sun is there. That's why I have only one match. So the answer for this is this. Similarly, find the RegEx pattern to match it's either east or west. Pause the video and try by yourself. Okay, the solution for this is, it's almost similar to this. It is east, pipe, west. And here I have the 2 matches are there. That's why I can see east and west. That's the solution. Let me copy this and paste it here. And similarly, write a RegEx pattern to match either morning or evening. Could you tell me an answer for this? Yes, it is morning, pipe, evening. Now, can you tell me, create a regular expression pattern to match either rises, sets, or sinks? Let me go to my regular expression. So I need to, again I have to use the pipe. It's a rises, sets, or sinks. Okay, so all you need to do is just use pipe. So the idea is that it's not only we have to use the pipe only one time, we can actually use the pipe multiple times. So that's the pattern. Let's copy this and paste it here. Now tell me this answer. Find the RegEx pattern to match either the or birds. Pause the video and try by yourself. Alright, this is a little bit interesting and tricky question. So generally the answer is, for example, if you type THE and we'll get the 3 the's are there. But actually if you look into the question carefully, I'm looking for capital T. So which means this should be T, capital T-H-E. There is only capital T-H-E, only the is there. So one thing you need to understand is that regular expressions is a case sensitive. Okay. So similarly, I'm looking for birds, which is this BIRDS. All right. So that's the pattern I'm looking for. Let me copy this and paste it here. That's it. So this is what the answers that we are actually looking for these questions. So hope now you understand a little bit about the pipe. In the next lesson, we're going to look into the next meta character, which is dot. I will see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about another meta character, which is dot. The dot will always require a special attention. The dot is probably one of the oldest and also most widely used meta character. The idea of dot is it will match any one character except a new line. As I said, any character, which means it could be an alphabets. In alphabets it also can be the lowercase, uppercase, and special characters, numbers, escape characters, except a new line. So except a new line, which is the \n, which is there in the string, except that it will try to match any character that was there in the string. Okay, now let's look into one of the example what exactly I mean. So let me consider here a pattern which is C followed by T. So what essentially it will tell is between C and T, it will try to match any character. I'm telling you it could be any character, which means here I given you all the probable cases, which is CAT, CBT, CCT, CDT, and so on, even for the capital letters, even numbers or the special characters, whatever is there between C and T. And here since there I have used only one dot, so one single dot means one character. So it will match any one character between C and T. That's what it's exactly trying to find. Okay, so the dot again I'm specifically telling you which is going to match any one character. Let's quickly look into the example of the dot, and for that let's go to regex 101. Alright, I'm in the regex 101. As usual, I'm using my old string. And here the dot, if I specify the dot in the regular expression pattern, which means that it will try to match all characters, even the spaces, special characters, capital letters, lower cases, doesn't matter. It will match all characters which is there in the string. Now, for example, let me take the example which I shown you in the PPT. Let's say if I want some one character between C and T and it's able to match it, which is cat, it found the cat and set. So both are the string or characters which would be able to match, and you can see either it could be anything. It could be any kind of a letter or word, or it could be any kind of a letter or special characters, numbers, and etc. What exactly we'll see is that there is any character between C and T. That's what exactly we'll search for. And for example, if I put two dots, which means two characters, it will try to find any two characters between C and T. Three characters between C and T. If I put four dots, any four characters. Five dots, any five characters. Six dots, and it will try to find any six characters between C and T. So what you're trying to understand here, for example, here the C and T is there. If you look into this example, we have C and T. It does need not to be in a word. It could be outside the words also. So between C and T, because as a whole, the regular expression will see all our characters. Even a space is also a character for it. That's what you can see here in this example, that it was some word which is having starting with C, and there are 6 characters, any 6 characters, O, D, E, R, and even there is a space is there, and again it ends with T. So it just try to find any characters between C and T. That's what exactly the dot is about. Even though the dot is most powerful meta character, that can create a problem if at all we are not using it properly. In most of the cases where dot is used, it could be considered as a overkill or just a symptom of laziness when writing the regular expression. Here my recommendation is, if at all you know what exactly you're trying to match, then try to use that pattern only instead of using dot, because dot will definitely able to find it, but along with your findings it can also match to other matches also, so which could lead to a problem. So to better define and to use exactly what we want to use, there is another meta character called set of characters. We will be discussing about this meta character in the next lesson. I will see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. Now in this lesson we're going to discuss about another meta character which is popular and also widely used is set of characters. Set of characters is defined with the square bracket, something like this. The set of character, also known as character set, allows you to define a character that will match any of the defined character on the set is present. In order to define the character class, we have to use square brackets, and within the square brackets we need to provide the pattern to it. And here is the starting example I have given to you. Within the square braces there is a letter C and S. The meaning of this is, this will actually look for a pattern whether a character C and S is present. If it present, then we'll try to match. For example, the one of the example where this kind of been used is, let's say you have some licenses there. So where a license and license, where we have the C and S, both are valid case. In order to identify or in order to match such kind of character, what we can use is we can use a square braces and we can specify the character that we want to match, something like this. So using which we can able to match the C and S, and of course the whole license is being matched here because the LICEN, and basically we are looking for any two character C or S. It's not only the set of characters we can provide, we can also provide the range of characters also. This can be done by leveraging the hyphen symbol or dash symbol. For example, in this case you have seen the character range between 0 to 9, which is a range character, and this will actually look for all the characters between 0 to 9, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Similarly, we can also define the range of letters between A to Z, something like this. In this case we have the lowercase a to Z. So what are the letters between A to Z? It's going to match that. And similarly in the case of capital letters, which is the uppercase, we can also do the same range. And if at all we want the all lowercase, uppercase and also numbers, then we can define all the range in this particular order, which is look for 0 to 9, A to Z, which is a lowercase, and uppercase, capital A to Z. Likewise, we can actually use this set of characters to define that what kind of characters you want to be matched in that particular range. And this is a very useful, and this can be the alternate of the dot character that whatever I have mentioned in the previous lesson, where it will match any character apart from a new line. And instead of that, we can actually use the set of characters, which is a character set, and using which you can specify what exactly you are looking for. There is another possibility, that is negation of ranges. We can invert the meaning of this, what are the range or what are the set of character which we have defined within the square brackets. We can invert this by using a symbol called caret, and this is a symbol caret which you will see in the keyboard. And usually this symbol is being used for the negation of range. Any kind of a negate operation that you want to perform, we can use this character, which is caret. All you need to do is that you need to specify the caret immediately after opening the square bracket. After that you have to keep this caret, and now this will do exactly the invert operation. For example, here I have used caret, and the range of set of character I used is 0 to 9. So what exactly happened is this will match anything apart from a digit which is 0 to 9. Apart from these digits, it will try to match anything like lowercase, uppercase, special characters, etc. And similarly, we can also do it for lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z, and also all the alphanumeric characters. We can also do this, which means that here this particular negate a to z, which will actually match anything apart from the lowercase alphabets, whereas this will match anything apart from the uppercase alphabets, whereas this will match anything apart from the alphanumeric, whether it's a lower or upper. The such kind of an operation is also possible even with the set of characters, and that is within the square brackets. And again, the meta character that we are actually using to make it as a negate is caret. Alright, now let's quickly jump to our regex 101 and look into this example. Alright, now I'm in the regex 101. So let me remove this pattern. So as we discussed, we are giving the set of range or set of characters. So for that we need to use the meta character, which is square brackets. Now within the square brackets, you can specify what exactly the character that you're looking for. For example, I'm looking to match A and C. Now here, if you see the whatever the character that was there, which is A and C, we are going to match this. For example, we want to match only the numbers within the string. Then what I can do is that I can specify 0 to 9. So the moment I specify the 0 to 9, what exactly it'll do is that it'll try to match all the numbers within the string. It's not only that, we can also give, let's say, space. Even the special character is also available. So what happened is it's going to match all the space characters is also can be matched here. So similarly, this will also work. Let's say you want to match all the capital letters. You just need to provide the capital letters, which is A to Z. So there you can see that it will try to match only the capital letters. Cool. So this is the one of the very good alternative of the dot. So instead of dot, I highly recommendable to use this character set, and where you can specify the whatever the range you want. So the opposite of this is we have to use the negate operator, and using this negate operator, for example, you want to match anything apart from numbers, you can easily specify that, and this will actually match anything apart from the numbers. And what you see here is anything apart from the numbers is getting highlighted, which means it's getting matched. For example, you want anything apart from the alphabet in the range A to Z. So this is going to be match. Okay, let's see the small letter A to Z, and here you go. This is what it's going to see is that it's going to match anything apart from the lowercase. For example, you want to include the uppercase also into this, and this will actually match anything apart from the uppercase. And also you want to not to include the space over there, and you can include that. And what exactly happens is this. So anything apart from lowercase alphabet A to Z, uppercase alphabet A to Z, and the space, and is going to match everything. For example, here we have numbers, some special characters like comma, apostrophes, etc., and that's going to be matched here. And even the new line is also matched with this character set. Cool. So this is the idea of the character set. In the next lesson, we look into some exercise questions on the character set as well as the dot. I'll see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have looked into character set and the dot meta character. Now, in this lesson, we're going to look into the exercise questions on these two meta characters. And here are the text that I'm using. And along with this, I have already given you the 8 example questions. And let's use this example question and try to practice the character set and the dot. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Now consider the above string something like this. And for this string, the first question is, write the regex pattern or regex expression using the character set to match any single vowel, that is A, E, I, O, U in the text. Okay, so what I meant to say is that from the text, just match a single character A, E, I, O, U. Pause the video and try by yourself and understand. Pause the video and try by yourself. Alright, now let me open the regex 101. And here is the example text that was there with me. And from this text, what I want to identify is the vowel. So in order to identify this, the regex pattern is we have to use the character set and simply put the patterns or put the vowels here, that is A, E, I, O, U. That's it. So now what happens is that it try to identify the single character vowel wherever it's trying to find this single character A, E, I, O, U. It'll try to match this. All right. So that's an answer for this. Let's look into the second question. Write a regular expression using pipe to match either John or Tom. Pause the video and try by yourself. All right, now let me see this. So what you have to do is that, see, basically we are trying to identify either of the two cases. So in that case, we have to use the pipe. So the first one is John, pipe, Tom. And that's it. That's how we can able to identify that. And here you can see that John, Tom, and also even the Johnson. In the Johnson, it identified the or matches the John also. Cool, right? So that's the pattern is what we are looking for. Write a regular expression using character set to match any single character that is not a digit in the text. Pause the video and try by yourself. Okay. The solution for that is basically I'm looking for any character apart from a number. So in that case, what I can do is that I can use the character set and just mention the number 0 to 9, and this will actually identify all the numbers in the text. But in order to negate operation of this, we have to use the caret symbol. Now this is the caret. Apart from any numbers, it will identify the characters or special characters also. And that's the pattern we are looking for. Now let's look into the fourth question. Write a regular expression to match either com or net in the email address. Pause the video and try by yourself. Okay, we already see this kind of example. So the answer for that will be, we have to use pipe. I just use com, pipe, net. That's it. Let's look into the next question. Write a regular expression using a character set to match any single digit in the phone number. Pause the video and try by yourself. Let's look into the answer for this. The idea of this question is we are trying to match all the numbers. So in that case, what I'll do is that I'll simply use the character set. Character set, which is 0 to 9. That's it. So this will match all the numbers in the string. Next question. Write a regular expression using dot to match any character between T and M. And actually the example is Tom.
So write a regular expression so that, like, you can match any character between any single character between T and M. Pause the video and try by yourself. Alright, now the regular expression for this is simply we will use the dot, which is T dot M. So which means that any character between T and M is going to match here. So this could be, any character could be a letter, special character, spaces, anything could be there between T and M, it tried to match. And in this case, we got Tom. So basically, you might have wondered, like, why this is not coming. Hope you already know the answer. The answer is the regular expression what we are using is a case sensitive. We will also see in the future lessons that how to also get the case insensitive also. But however, this is the pattern we are looking for this question. Let's look into the next question. Write a regular expression using character set to match any single uppercase letter in the text. So the answer for that is we just use as a character set, and in the character set we just mention capital A2, capital Z, and that's it. And this will match any single character which is, or single or multiple character. Basically it will try to find only the capital letters. And finally, write a regular expression using a caret inside the character set to match any single character that is not a letter, not a number in the text. Pause the video and try by yourself. Okay, so this is a tricky question. I'm asking the not a letter or not a text. Not a letter means it could be any lowercase or uppercase, and not a number means it's not a digits. So in that case, what we can do is we just mention everything. We 0 to 9, A to Z, which is a letters, and also small a to Z, which is a lowercase. And if we use the caret here, and this will actually display or matches the character which is not a number, not a letter, and apart from that we're going to match everything like spaces, special characters, etc. Okay, so that's the pattern we are looking for. Cool, right? This is the sum of the example questions for the character set and dot. In the next lesson we're going to look into the quantifiers. I'll see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to discuss about quantifiers. So far we have learned how to define a single character in varieties of fashions, like using dot, where we can match any characters, and set of characters is also we have seen, and also simple pattern. At this point, we will leverage the quantifiers. Now, we're going to see how to use the quantifiers. Quantifiers is a mechanism to define how a character, meta character, or a character set can be repeated. The character can be any kind of character. A meta character like dot, as we have seen, which could be the any characters, and also character set where we can define the set of characters that we want. And using the quantifiers, we can make them to repeat it. So we are actually having the 4 types of quantifiers. One is question mark, and this will actually repeat 0 or 1 time. Star, which is 0 or more number of times. Plus sign, and this is the 1 or more number of times. And there is a curly braces. Within that we have the m and n, and if at all you want to repeat between m and n times, we can specify that. For example, I want to repeat a character something like 2 to 3 times. In that case, we can use this. Let me give you an example for all the quantifiers. Here is an example of star, and what you have noticed is the pattern, something like hello and followed by star. A star, basically it's going to apply the preceding character, as we already know,
and this preceding character, it try to repeat 0 or more number of times. The star is basically 0. It'll repeat 0 or more number of times, usually the unlimited number of times. So in this case, it will match all these characters like hell, hello, hello, hell 3 times O, hell 4 times O, and so on. That's what the star means. If you use the same thing for the plus, which is the 1 or more number of occurrences. So anything greater than 1 is what the occurrences it will look for. And that's why it will start with 1, means at least there should be the 1 character and more than 1 character, like hello, and hell 2 O's, hell 3 O's, and so on. And for example, if we use a question mark, the question mark is actually 0 or 1 number of occurrences. If at all you want either 0, nothing, or 1 number of occurrence, we can use question mark. And if at all you want the more control of number of times that you want to repeat, and there we have the curly braces. This is an example of the curly braces, and what you see is the hello, and after that in the curly braces I mentioned 2 to 5, which means that will match the character at least 2 and max of 5 times the O is repeated. Something like this, where you can see hello where we have the 2 O's, and in hello we have 3 O's, and hello we have 4 O's, and 5, max of 5. Now what we will do is, let's go to RegEx 101 and look into the example of the quantifiers. I'm having the simple text with me, something like hello, and hello 2 times O, hello 3 times O, and so on. Now, for example, let's use the same case, and for example here, I just want to match something like 0 or 1 occurrences. What I can use is the question mark. Question mark will only look into the 0 or 1 occurrences. And for example, you want the more times 0 or at least 0 or many types of occurrences, we can use the star. And plus is something, at least we should have the 1 number of occurrences. And if at all you want to control over the number of occurrences that you have to be repeated, then we can specify, let's say 2 to 4. So if the occurrences is 2 to 4, then only it's try to match. That's what you can see here. This is having the hello with 2 O's, hello with 3 O's, and so on. Cool. That's the introduction to the quantifiers. In the next lesson, we're going to see more on this. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. In this lesson, I'm going to give you the introduction to the predefined characters. And these characters are also known as special sequence. After using the character classes for some time, like dot and also some character class, it's become clear that some of them are very useful and probably worth for shortcut, right? Luckily, there are a number of predefined character classes that can be reused and will be already known by the most of the developers, and making the expression more readable. For example, here are the few special sequence characters has their meaning. These characters are not only useful as well as well-known shortcuts for typical character set, but also have the different meaning in other context. Let's look into the one of the character set, that is \w. \w, it is also known as the word character, means it will match any characters from the alphabets A to Z, capital A to Z, and numbers from 0 to 9, and even the underscores. But it won't match the spaces. So basically, it is actually very similar to the case where we have the character class between A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, and underscore. And the opposite of \w, which is a small w, is \capital W. And basically, it is similar to the caret of A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, and underscore. As we already discussed, the character is actually
opposite of whatever is there in the character set, which means that it will match a character which is apart from the word characters. And similarly, \d will actually match all the digits. So it is actually similar to the character set 0 to 9. Capital D is opposite to small d, which means that it will match anything apart from digits. And similarly, \s is it will match the white spaces like tab, white space, new line, etc. And whereas \S, which will do the opposite of it, means it will match anything apart from the white spaces. That's what you can see here in the character class. Cool, right? So what I'll do is that let's quickly jump to the RegEx 101 and I'll try to show you some of the examples of the special sequence characters. I'm in the RegEx 101 now and I'm having the example old string, and \w will actually match all the word characters. And here you can see that it's actually matching all the words characters. And whereas \W will do the opposite of \W, means it will match anything apart from the word characters. That's what you can see here even in the explanation, that it is equivalent to A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9 and underscore. And it will match anything apart from this. And \T will actually match only the digits. And whereas \D will match anything apart from the digits. That's what you can see. The equivalent case of this is caret followed by 0 to 9. Caret, as I said, we already know about this. Caret is something which will do anything apart from the pattern given in the character set. Okay, similarly we have the space. This will match any white spaces. And here you can see all the white spaces are there. It's going to match this. And even the enter will also match the white space. And whereas the capital S, which will do the opposite of it, means it will match anything apart from the white space. Cool, right? So that's the meaning of the special sequence characters. Hope now you understand what is a special sequence characters. And one thing we need to understand is this. These are all the characters which is defined from the character set. Cool, right? In the next lesson, we're going to talk more about this. Until then, happy learning.
Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have discussed about meta characters and also some predefined characters. Now, using the knowledge that whatever we have learned till now, I have given you some sample text, and along with the sample text, I have given you some example questions. There are 10 questions out there, and each and every question is a little bit of challenging and interesting too. Please try to answer all the questions, and this will be really interesting, and also it will boost your confidence in the regular expressions. I'll see you in the next lesson for the solution. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Hope you have already tried the questions that whatever I have given in this exercise. Let's try to look into the solution of each and every question in detail. First one is the basic character set. Now I have some example text with me, and for the example text, the first question is create a pattern that match all instance of dates in the current format. In the format YYY/MMDD. Okay, so what I'll do is let me go back to my RegEx 101. I'm in the RegEx 101 and I copy pasted the text in the text string. First question is create a pattern to match the dates YYY/MMDD. So basically we are looking for kind of a pattern, something like this, which matches the date in this particular format. We know that we can use the character set, something like 0 to 9, we can define the character set 0 to 9, and which will actually match the character. But please try to understand this 0 to 9 is only one character. Okay, but however, there is also a shortcut for this. We already know the shortcut for the 0 to 9. What is that? Is predefined characters, which is \d, and also do the same kind of expression where it will also match the equivalent to 0 to 9. Okay, fine. So now we have identified the 0 to 9. So what else we are looking for? I'm looking for the pattern something like YYY 4Y, so means the 4 digits. So what I can do is that I can use the quantifier with the curly braces, and I want to repeat it exactly 4 times. And now if you notice that it matches this, but the pattern I'm looking for this is YYYY hyphen and MM. So I can use D and exactly match 2 characters, and hyphen \d, and it will exactly match 2 characters. That's the format I'm looking for. And here I go. Now it matches the date, but there are 2 matches that we have identified, and this exactly matches the date in the format YYY-MM-DD. Cool, right? That is a solution for the first question. Now let's look into the second question. Second question is, write a regex that finds all alphanumeric identifiers that contain both letter and numbers like John _ Smith 123 project -X 2021. All right, so now what I'll do, so that's the question we are looking for. And if you understand here in a John, there is some text should be there. And this text contains the capital letters and also the small lowercase. And then the pattern we are looking for is either underscore or dash. We can identify either underscore or dash, and then we are actually having the alphanumeric. Okay, and that's what exactly we are looking for now. Now what I'll do, let's jump back to my regex 101 and try to write the pattern for this. Okay, so let's look into the John Smith 1, 2, 3, which is this. And here you can notice that this is what the pattern something like is what I'm looking for. And also the project X 2021. So some kind of a pattern is what actually I'm looking for. Now in order to identify it, the first we already know that we are actually looking for either lowercase or uppercase. So in that case, let me use the character set and mention the lowercase a to z and uppercase capital A to Z. Okay, and this can be repeated n number of times. I'm not saying anything. This can be repeated n number of times, and the minimum value should be 1. So in such scenario, what we can do is we can use plus. Plus is something which is 1 or more. And after that, the character or pattern I'm looking for is underscore. And then I'm also looking for some characters between A to Z, capital A to Z, this is capital A to Z, and some numbers 0 to 9. And this can be repeated also more than 1. There should be at least 1 character, something like this. And now what you can notice is that we have identified the John _ Smith 1 to 3. But along with this, we also identified some different pattern also. But these are not I'm looking for, because these are some kind of a Python file, JSON files, and text files. So in order to uniquely identify only the John Smith 1 to 3, at the end I can put some \s. \s is a space is what I'm just looking for. Now you can notice that it only identifies the John Smith 1 to 3. But however, we are also looking for the pattern, something like project X, where there is a hyphen is there, a dash is there, X 2021.
Everything is same, only thing is that it could be either underscore or dash. Now how we can uniquely identify this? In order to identify this, what I will do is that let me use the pipe. So I'm looking for the two patterns, either this or this. Okay, let me remove the space here. There should not be no space. Now everything is same, only thing you need to replace dash underscore with dash. That's it. Now we can see that it identifies the John Smith and also the project X2021. Cool, right? So that's how we can identify the pattern for the alphanumeric with both letters, numbers, dash and also underscore. This is the pattern that exactly we're looking for. And please be note that each and every person has a different way of solving the things. It's not that always that you should actually follow this kind of pattern. You might also come up with the new different ideas and patterns too. Alright, now let's move to the question number 3. Now the third question is match all the times in the format HH, hours, and there is a colon is there and followed by space and it could be either AM or PM. So basically we're trying to match the time. And if you go back to my text and let's see what exactly I'm looking for is this. So first let me remove the patterns. And this is what exactly I'm looking for, which is a time. And what you notice is that we can have the numbers and also there is a number and we have either AM or PM here. And we also have the one more time, something like this. This is also time, is also I want to match. Okay, and the format basically I want to match here is HH colon MM space AM or PM. Okay, and this is actually similar to the previous case that whatever we have used for the identify the date pattern, right? Using that concept, let's create this. All right, as we're looking for the time, which is in the format HH, and I know this is a number, HS is a number, and it will have exactly 2 digits. And this is what we have. And after that, we will have a colon and then \T, and we'll have exactly 2 digits, HH and minutes. And with this, I have identified the time. And however, if you see that I'm able to identify the time, something like 17:45, but I can't able to identify the 9:30 AM. The reason is this could be also the single digit. So what I can do is that I can provide the range. It could be either 1,2, and even here also could be the 1,2. Okay, now we can see that we identified the time, something like this. And also I need to identify or AM or PM. So now let's look into the pattern of this. What we can do is that we can use \S and then I can have either AM or PM. What we can do is we can set the AM here and this will match only the AM. But what about the PM? So for that we can use a pipe. In order to use this, there is a group operator is there, and probably we're going to look into the group operator later on. And we can use a group operator which is braces, and in the group we can mention we are looking for either AM or PM. Okay, that's a pattern. My point is that we cannot actually use this case, and this will actually identify only for AM, but another case it will only identify the PM. So we should actually put the group condition, something like this. Okay, so that's the pattern we are looking for. And there is another way also we can solve it is we can put the AM here and copy this and paste it here and without any group operator. And this also do the same, exactly the same operation. What we did is that we have created the same pattern. Only thing is that in the pipe, we are mentioning it's a AM or PM. Even this is also work, but I highly preferable to use the group operator. Let's look into another question, please. And now we are using the predefined character classes. And here is specifically asking you to use the \t, \w, \s and something like this, and using which I'm asking you to create the pattern which identify the format, something like this. So if you look into the fourth question, I'm asking you to create a pattern using \t, \w to extract all phone numbers in the format, something like this, which is within the bracket there is a 555 and space 123 and dash 4567 and something like this. And even here you can notice that it is the +1 and dash 555 123 6543, something like this. This is what the pattern I want to identify. Let's go to my regex and let me see how exactly we can write the pattern for this. The phone numbers, basically, let's try to solve one by one. This is the phone number I'm trying to match here. And there is also another pattern is also there. The first try to identify this pattern. In order to identify this pattern, what we see is the braces. So first we have to put the braces. So you cannot directly put the braces something like this because this is a meta character. So we have to use the / and followed by braces. And then there is a D, which is a number and which will exactly repeat for 3 times. Cool. And next is we have the closing braces. For that I can use / and closing braces. Now you can notice that the 555 is actually within the braces is actually detected. Now next case is that we have the space, single space will be there, and then we are looking for \t, and how many times it's repeated? 3 times. And we have a dash, and then \t will repeat for 4 times. That's it. That's how we can easily identify this particular pattern. Now how we can identify this pattern now? Let's use a pipe here. Now what exactly we're looking for? We have the +1 operator should be there. So in order to have the +1, what we can do is we can use the \+1 and this will identify this, and then followed by some digit which is \t, okay, and after that we have it dash and just repeat the same thing, which is the digit which repeat for 3 times and dash, and we have a digit which will repeat for 4 times. Oh, with this is also 3 and also this is also 3 times and dash digit repeat for 4 times. That's the pattern. Now we can see that we have identified this pattern and also identified this pattern also. Cool, right? And this is what the regex pattern that we can write to identify the phone numbers, something like this. Let's look into the next question. Write a regex using \s. Try to remember \s is a white space, and \S, which indicates detect anything apart from the white space, to find all the paths using both Windows and Linux styles. Alright, this is a little bit tricky. You can create a pattern even without the \s also, but I'm actually want you to use the \s to identify the regex pattern. For that, the hint that I can give you is use the character set and also caret. Okay, let's try to understand what is the file path that exactly we are having in the Windows and Linux. If you go to the text string that whatever we are having, and what you can notice is that some path is there. You can see here there is one path, something like this, and there is another path which is, this is the path for the Windows, and there is another path for the Linux. This is the Linux, and also some Windows path. Okay, so we have some paths like this, and I want you to use a regular expression and particularly use the \s and also \S to identify the file paths. Okay, so if you notice that the path of the Windows and the Linux is a little bit different. First, let's try to solve the path for the Windows. And if you look into the first case, what we have is the capital A to Z and followed by some colon. In order to identify this, what I can use is character set A to Z. Okay, and generally, like in Windows, you can have the different drives will be there, like C, D, E, F, and something like this. And suppose if at all you're looking for only specific drives like C, D, E, and what you can do is that you just mention those details here. So here what happens, it will only identify those kind of pattern. But anyway, for the general scenario, I'll just use the capital A to Z and followed by colon. Now it identifies the C and this. And after that, what happens is that I'm having some backslash, and in order to identify backslash, we can have to use \\. And since I just want to use the \s, what I can use is that I can start with the \s, and basically I'm not looking for any space. I'm looking for anything apart from the backslash. So for that I will use the caret symbol. And now this identifies some text or some string, and this one you have to be repeated. In order to repeat this, and there should be at least one, I can use plus, and done. And with this, it identifies the path, particularly the path of the Windows. And how about the path for the Linux, which is this? We can also do the exactly same thing. Basically, you have to use a pipe, and the path which you're actually looking for is, the first one is /. For that, we will use \/, and now it will identify all the /. And the next step is I'm looking for some characters apart from capital, basically apart from the spaces, right? Any character, it could be the special characters, numbers, capital letters, anything. For that I can use the same thing. Basically we can use the caret symbol, caret, and followed by \s. We can also do the exactly same thing, but here what I'll do is that let me use the capital S. What I'll do, let me use the \S, and this is exactly the opposite of what we are doing. And now I want to repeat it for more than one, so one or more. So in that case I can use plus, and the end value I'm just basically looking for is the /. For that, what I can do is I can take the \/, and with this it identifies the Linux path. Cool, right? But however, I'm also getting the URL. So in order to skip this, let me add the one more pattern, which is the \s, and which is the space also I'm looking for. Something like this. Now we have uniquely identified the Linux path. Cool. So this is what the pattern that we can use to match both the path of the Windows and also the path of the Linux. Let's look into another question. Develop a pattern using \w, \d, and \s. And please remember, \w is a word character, \d we already know it's a digit, and \s is a space, to match all the file names with the version number, something like main_v3.2.py. All right, now let's go to my regex and see what exactly the files we are having.
And now I'm in the regex 101, and if you notice that there are the three files that we need to identify, which is main with the version number something like this, and also we have another file which is a config_prod.json and api_keys.txt. But in the question I specifically mentioned to match only the file name something like this, which has the version number in it. In order to identify such file, basically I want to only to identify such file, then what I'll do is that let me use the pattern. Let me remove this. The first one is I'm just looking for the word. Basically this could be the capital letters or small letters and anything. So the first I'm going to looking for is a word character, and that one should be repeated. Generally the word character should have the more than one character, so I can put it as plus. And after that the pattern is underscore and followed by V, and now I'm looking for numbers, and what I can do is that I can use the \d, and this number can be more than one also. Let's use plus, which is one or more, and followed by dot. In order to identify the dot, what I can use is \dot, and I can't directly use a dot here because this is the meta character. I'm specifically looking for the pattern dot, so that's why I can put it here. And then I'm having the again version number \d, and this could also repeat any number of times. At least should we have any number of times, and the value is more than one, and followed by dot \dot, and then we have the word character, and this can also be repeated any number of times. That's the pattern we are looking for, and now you can see that we identify this text. Alright, now let's look into another question. Next question is on the meta characters alternations. And here I'm asking you to use the pipe operator to match either email address or website URLs. This is also a little bit tricky. So I need to match email address as well as the website URLs. Let's go to the regex 101. Now let me remove this pattern. Let's look into some email address that what we are having. And if you see here, this is what the email address that we have, and also one more email address. And then we have some URL, something like this. And this is what the patterns I'm actually looking for. In order to identify this, first let's try to understand how we can identify the email address. And if you look into the email address, there are two types of email address that was there. And what we notice is that we have some word characters, and also there is a dot. Please note that dot is actually not the part of the word character. And then the next pattern is obviously for email address, there should be an @ and followed by some word character, and there is a .com is there. Alright, so that's the pattern we are looking for. The first, let's try to split into two parts, and then we're going to do this. I'm just going to do the first part this, and then I'm going to do the next part. Let's look into this one. And this one is a pretty straightforward. What we can use is the word character. And what we're looking for is a \w, but try to understand the \w is equivalent to A to Z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9, and underscore. But we want the dot also should be there. In order to do this, what we can see, again, in the email address, it's may or may not. We may not have the dot also. So that's the reason. Let me define my own pattern. I'm looking for the character 0 to 9, sorry, A to Z, capital A to Z, and I want the underscore also, and also dot. Okay, I think I should use the specifically dot. And this can be repeated more than one. Right, so now I have this one, and then I followed by @. Now we got the clean. So this is what the pattern which was detected now, and this is my first part. In the next part, I can actually repeat the same thing, whatever I have written here. What I'll do is same part, which is capital A to Z, and underscore I can have underscore, and sometimes I can also have dash also there, because in the website generally in the domain names generally we have the dash also will be there, right? And also I'm looking for dot, because it could be the .com, .in, .net, and so on. And that's the pattern we're looking for, and this can be repeated more than one. Okay. Oh, this is dash. I can have to use backslash. Yes, that's it. So this is how we can identify the email address. And next, what we are looking for is to identify the URLs. In order to identify the URL, as we know that it always starts with HTTP or HTTPS or www and so on. In this case, I'm having only the HTTP. So let me use the pipe and write the pattern. We are looking for starting with HTTP is what the starting pattern I'm looking for, and followed by colon. Oh, I should remove the space here. And after that, I basically looking for this pattern. So which is actually anything apart from space, right? Now what I can do is I can use the character set and use the caret and backslashes. And this can be repeated any number of times, at least more than one. So plus, that's it. Now I have identified the URLs. Okay, what happens to this? Why it is not? Oh, there is a space, is there? Right, let me remove the space, and here we go. Now we have the email address and also URLs has been matched here. Cool, right? That's how we can actually solve this question. Let's look into another question. Create a pattern with the dot meta character to find all the text within the parenthesis. Okay, what exactly it means is this. Let's go to my regex 101, and within the parenthesis, what are the text is there? I want to match it. Okay, so for example, I want to match this. I want to identify this, and something is what I want to identify this one, and so on. So whatever is there within the parentheses, I want to identify it. For that, what I can use is basically I have to start with backslash this, and now let me use a dot, and I want to identify anything, any character, and for that I'm going to repeat this, and then basically I have to use the close the braces. But however, if you can notice here is, in this case it is fine, but it is trying to identify within these two. That's not what exactly I'm looking for. So in order to repeat only once, so whole pattern I need to repeat only once, I have to put star and question mark, and that's it. Now here we go. This is what we can see, that it will match any character which in the parenthesis. Let's look into another question. Write a regex that matches the IP address, something like this, and which has 192.168.1.100. And this is what the regex pattern I want to match the IP address, and which is actually similar to all the cases that whatever we have created, right? Let's use this. So what I can do is, let me go back to my regex 101, and I want to identify the IP address which looks something like this. Please try to note that, when you match the IP address, this could be also the 3 characters too sometimes. So that's the reason what I'll do is, in order to match the IP address, it's a \t and repeat for 1 to 3 times. So all are repeated for 1 to 3 times, dot \t, and this repeats for 1 to 3 times, and \t, oh, this is not dot, yeah, and \t I'll repeat for 1 to 3 times. Sometimes even you can write something like this, which will also says, oh, this is 0 to 3. This is 1 to 3 times, and \t, oh, 1 to 3 times, 1 to 3 times. And here there is something we need to notice, is that there is a dot is there, right? So in order to define the dot, what we can use is, we can use \dot. So every pattern, let's put dot here, and done. And with this we have identified the IP address. This is the pattern which is what we are looking for. Let's look into another question. Create a comprehensive pattern that extracts all forms of contact information like emails and phone number from the text. So this is basically the combine challenge. We already did all the details previously, and let's combine all together and try to write the pattern here. And the pattern, what we are looking for is something like this. So I need to identify all the email address, phone numbers, and all contact information. So email address and the phone numbers is what we are looking for, and the pattern basically I'm looking for is this. I already created the pattern for it, which is actually, we already know how we identify the email address and how to identify the phone number and how to identify this phone number. I created the combination of the pattern and pasted it here. So all the three patterns are added or separated by the pipe is what you can notice this. Okay. All right. Hope now you had a little bit confidence on how to match the regular expression characters. If not, don't really worry about it. It's all about the pattern is what you're looking for. And in order to get master in this, we have to keep on practicing the regular expression. The more you practice, the more better you understand the regular expression and more better we can define the pattern. Cool. In the next lesson, we're going to talk more on this. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. Until this point, we have tried to find out the regular expressions pattern within the text. Sometimes it is also required to match the starting or ending of the line, or sometimes even the starting or ending of the word. In such cases, we can leverage boundary matcher in the regular expression. Boundary matchers are the number of identifiers that will correspond to a particular position inside the input. And below is the table which shows the boundary match conditions. Like caret. We already saw this caret in the different scenario, particularly in the character set. But here we are going to use the caret to identify the beginning of the line. So any kind of a line, and after that line you want you to look into this particular pattern, we can actually use this caret symbol to identify any string or character at the beginning of the line. And please be remembered that the beginning of the line is new line. And at the same time, if at all you want to identify a pattern which is the end of the line, then we can use dollar symbol. And we are also having the predefined characters like \b and \B. \B is a word boundary matcher and which is used to identify beginning or ending of the word. For example, if at all you want to identify a word with having a beginning with some set of characters, we can use the \B. \uppercase B is an opposite of \smallcase b, which means the \B or uppercase B will match anything inside the word but not the boundary. And also we are having the \A, \Z, and which will match the beginning of the input of the entire string, at the same time end of the entire string respectively. Okay, so that's the boundary matches that we have. Alright, these are the boundary matches we have, and let's look into an example and try to understand the boundary matches. In this case, I'm considering a new string, and this is the string I am considering here. Alright, let's look into this example string and try to understand the boundary matcher conditions. Okay, so I'm in the RegEx 101. Now let's try to understand the caret. So caret, as I already told you, that this will match anything at the beginning of the line. Beginning of the line means something like this. This is the beginning of a line, and this is the beginning of line. This, and so on. This and all the beginning of the line. For example, if at all you're looking for the upload at the beginning of a line, then what we can do, we can use the caret symbol. Something like this.
So now you can see that you can notice here in the explanation, it is given the caret is a position at the start of the line. So basically it try to matches the upload wherever it try to find the starting find at the starting of the line. For example, here I can see that the upload is not matched because it's not at the starting of the line. For example, now if we use please, and this is since it's the starting of the line, it's going to match this. And it's not only that, you can also match the hyphen or dash at the starting of the line. It's also able to match this. Okay, so that's the meaning of the caret. And opposite to this is the dollar symbol, and this dollar symbol is generally used to identify anything at the end of the line. For example, here you want to identify the records, which is at the end of the line. So then what we can use is the records. We can type the records dot. We need to put everything. And this will able to identify anything at the end of the line. And please remember that the dollar symbol, this should be at the what are the pattern you want to identify. And after that, you need to put the dollar symbol at the end. So then only it's going to identify it. And generally, and if at all you want at the starting, then we have to use the caret at the start of the line, something like this. Okay, so that's how we can identify the characters at the end of the line. Caret and the dollar is particularly used to identify the start and end of the line. And suppose we want to look into the words point of view, what we have is the B. Backslash B will identify the beginning, which starts with U. You can actually find this. Just type this backslash B U. And what exactly it's trying to see is that it's trying to identify the pattern and which begins with U. For example, if we remove the backslash B, and you can see that we are also having the different U's are there. Now, if you use the beginning of the string or beginning of the word, if you want starting with U, you can get this. And if you want the full word, then what we can use is we can use a backslash W, and which is the word character I want to identify, and plus. So this will identify the entire word which starts with U, something like this. Cool, right? And for similarly, if at all you want to identify some kind of a word which is not starting with U, you want to identify ending with U, then take the U and put the backslash B at the end. And here there is no other word which actually ends with U. And for example, you are looking for something like N, and this is what the N is a word, and you want to identify the word which ends with the N, and this is how we can do this. And so similarly, if at all you want the entire word which actually ends with N, then what we can do, we can put the backslash W and use the plus symbol, which is one or more number of times. And this will identify a word which ends with N. Okay, so that's the meaning of backslash B. So backslash B in summary, which you can use to identify the start of the word, end of the word also. The opposite of lowercase b is uppercase capital B. And this will match anything apart from the boundary condition. For example, in the previously we have seen the N which ends with the N, and we identify the transaction as something, but since we use the backslash capital B, and it's not identifying that, but however it's identified anything which is inside the string, or inside the word. So in this case, it's trying to identify the pattern which ends with N within the word. So for example, if you want to look into the word character and use plus, and this is what you are seeing here. So what exactly it's happening? This is the word character, and this is ends with N within the word. Okay, and if at all you want to start with N, again it's not the boundary condition. Within the word you want to start with something with the N, and you want this word character to end to the end of the word, and we can use the B at the starting of the condition. All right, so that's the capital B. And we are also having the capital A
The capital A is something which will identify only at the start of the string. So that means here, for example, hi is something which we have, and this is having only at the start of the string. This is what it's identified. And similarly, you want to identify something which is end of the string, and we have to use the capital Z, and which will actually identify the end of the string. That's what you can see here. You can see there is a mark condition, and this we're going to identify only at this position. This is the introduction to the boundary matches. In the next lesson, we're going to look into some of the examples of this boundary matches. I'll see you on that. Until then, happy learning. Welcome back. In the previous lesson, we have discussed about boundary matcher. Now, let's take one example string and try to practice the boundary matcher with the questions on top of this example string. And this is the example string that I'm having with me. There are 10 lines are there. And here are some questions that I'm having with me. And let's look into these questions one by one. So first, let's look into the question on the caret. And for a given string, something like this, write a regex pattern that match any line beginning with the word hello. Now, basically, if you look into the hello here, so this is what we are having. So here we have the two hellos that was matched with this a capital letter, but however I want the beginning of the line, and the symbol that I need to use is the caret, and caret is the one which will identify the line that begins with some kind of a pattern. Now if at all you want the entire line, then what I can do is I can put dot and plus, and this will match entire line. And these are the two lines that begins with the word hello. Now let's look at the second question is write a regex pattern that match any line begin with either hello or hello. Both are hello, but one thing is that we have the capital H and small h. There are multiple ways that we can actually do this. For example, this is the one which is begin with hello, and what we can do is we can use I can simply use the group operator and write the hello also. And now this match both the condition where it begins with hello and hello. And there is another way also we can do this by, so for example, this is a very simple way, is you can also use the character set. Let me first remove everything, and we can actually use the character set H and capital H. Now we can write the hello. So this is the case where it will identify both hello with the uppercase and lowercase. Now in order to find out, since we want the beginning of the line, we can use the caret, and if at all you want the all lines, let's put dot and plus, which will actually match for all the lines. That's how we can identify a pattern which begins with the word hello, which is both capital as well as lowercase. Now the next question is how many lines in this example starts with the capital letter. We go back to my regex 101. Let me remove this. Now how many lines starts with capital letter? Something like this is the capital letter. I believe only these are the lines which is not starts with the capital letter. Now in order to identify this, what we can do is we can actually use the character set capital A to Z. Capital A to capital Z, which will identify all the capital letters. Now since we want to identify only the capital letters in the beginning of the line, and I can use the caret symbol. And since we want the entire line, we can use dot and plus. Now here we go. This is where we have identified the lines which starts with the capital letter. Now we can simply count it. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So even you can also find here. So hence the answer is 6 lines which actually starts with the capital letter. That's the solution for this. Let's look into another question on the boundary conditions, particularly on dollar. Dollar, in simple, it will identify the end of the line. Let's look at the fourth question. Write a regex pattern that match any line ending with the word
hello. Okay, so let's go back and remove the pattern. So this is what we are looking, and basically we're looking for a line that ends with hello. I find only this line, so let's try to match this by just putting dollar. So dollar, if you put that, now you can see that this is the only word that match with hello. And since we want the entire line, we can use dot plus, which will match the entire line. Alright, so that's how we can actually match this case. Now, how many lines in this example string end with the period, which is dot? Okay, let's go back to my regex 101. Let me remove this pattern. And here we want to identify a regex pattern where the line ends with dot. Something like this. We have the dot here, but in this case we don't have dot, and in this case also we don't have dot. Now, in order to identify this, we can't directly use the meta character dot. Since this is the meta character, and in order to use this one, we have to use the backslash dot. Now here we go. This is what the case where we have identified the dot. Now since we want only at the end of the line, we can use dollar symbol, and this will actually match at the end of the line. And if we want the entire line, what we can do is dot plus, and this will match the entire line. And obviously now we can count. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 lines. Next. Let's look at the next question, which is this. Write a regex pattern that match any line ending with exact word world. So it should have a word called world should be there. Since we want the line ending with world, and this is what I'm having. This is the lines, this is the words that we have identified, and we want at the end of the line. And in this case, what we can use is the dollar symbol backslash dollar. Oh, sorry, this is only dollar. And this is the one which endings with world. But since you just try to understand, I want this to be a word. In order to do this, we can actually use the backslash p. So which means that I just want to have a word with starting with world and ending with the d, and also this should be the end of the line. So this is what the pattern that we are looking for. Now since we want the entire line, then use a dot plus, which will actually matches entire line. Okay, so that's the pattern we are looking for. Let's look into the next question with on the boundary condition. Write a regex pattern that matches the standalone word hello, and try to see it is a case sensitive, case insensitive in this example text. So which means that I want to match the word hello. This should begin with something like H and end with O. That's what we should be very careful, and also this should be the case insensitive. Let's go back to my regex 101. Now first let's identify the hello with the case insensitive. For that, what we can do is I can use a character set and use the capital H and small h, and in the outside I can put hello. And this identifies the hello, which is case insensitive. Now I want this to be a word, so hence it should be starting with capital B and also ends with capital B. Now in this case, now I have successfully identified a word hello. So what happens if you remove this backslash B at the end? It also matches this, but this is not the word. Okay, so now this is the one which we have that starts with hello, starts with H and ends with O. Cool, right? So that's how we can actually use the backslash B. How many times does a standalone word world lowercase only appears in the example text? Okay, how many times you have identified the word or world in the lowercase only? In that case, let me remove this and type the word, and everything should be in the lowercase, and how many times you have identified this word. So for that, you can use the capital B and so backslash B and backslash B, and how many times you identified, which is word 1, 2, 3, 3 times. That's an answer. Next question. Write a regex pattern that matches the word is only when appears in the complete word. So is should be a complete word. It should not be there in the between of the words and etc. For example, this is what the is I'm having, but I'm looking for only this one. Now how we can identify this is we can actually put backslash B starting with this and ending with this. That's it. Now with this we can able to identify a word is. Let's look into the next question. And here is the questions. Now we are looking on the backslash capital B, which is a non-word boundary. Let's see now. Write a regex pattern that matches the word only when it is part of another word without word boundaries. Okay, which means that this should not be a boundary word, but it is actually the part of one word. So if you look into the word, so this should be capital word. Now identify the two capital words, but I need this one. I need to identify this. In order to match this one, this should not be start with the beginning of the word or neither the end of the neither the end, and this is what I'm looking for. And this should be actually between the word. Okay, so that's how we can identify it. Write a regex when it is part of larger word or token. So basically the same kind of pattern we are looking for. So here is an example, and this should be actually the part of the word, but it should not be neither end or neither start. And in this case I don't see anything. But however, if you remove this one, we identify this, but we want neither the case, so hence this is the pattern we are looking for. Cool, right? Let's look into the next case on the backslash capital A, and backslash capital A will help us to identify start of the string. What single word would a regex pattern backslash A hello matches in our example? So let me copy this and let's see what exactly it's going to match in our example string. Let me remove this and paste it, and it's going to match only the hello. The reason is this is because basically the capital A will try to identify only at the start of the entire string. Okay, so that's why it matches this. Let's look at the next question. Write a regex pattern that matches the first 5 characters of the entire example text. Okay, and we need to identify the first 5 characters, and that is the beginning of the input text. So for that I can use the backslash A, and this will be the beginning of the text. And now I want the first 5 characters. Any character I can use dot and I can put 5, and this is the first 5 characters I can get. Let's look into the next question. Write a regex that matches this one. How does the pattern backslash A perform in our example text? Usually we won't get anything because our example text contains startings with hello. So if you do this, it doesn't match anything. So what the answer for that is, it doesn't matches anything. Like next question on the capital Z, which is the end of the string. The question is, write a regex pattern that matches the last sentence of entire example text. So basically we are trying to identify the last sentence. So in this case we can use the backslash Z, which will identify the last, and since we want the entire sentence we can use dot plus, and this will actually match the entire text in the last line. What's the last word in the entire example text? That would be matched by this. So he already given you the pattern. Now what exactly is going to be matched? Basically if you look into this, and here we are looking for the \z, which is the last word, and it's trying to match the entire last word, even the dot, because we have the dot here. Next question. Write a regex that matches the last 10 characters of the entire example text. This is also simple. So we can use a \z, which will actually match the entire last point. Now, since we want any character, and that we should repeat it for the 10 times, and this is the last 10 characters in our entire string. So this is how we can answer all the questions on the boundary matches. Hope now you understand what is meta characters, predefined characters, and how to write the regex pattern using regular expressions. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.